Thanks for joining us again. Shekau's video about 5 months ago showing him alongside with the over 200 Chibok girls got Nigeria, some global attention as regards the fight against insurgency. I mean, we're hopeful that with the help of Western countries, Asian community, and of course, indeed the whole world, this issue of insurgency would go probably overnight. But the bad news now is that U.S. is not even selling arms to Nigeria. Now, there's a law they call the Liaili Amendment, and that law strictly prohibits direct military assistance to any foreign military unit where credible information indicates it has violated human rights. And that's exactly the excuse that the Nigerian government has for using a private jet to take $9.3 million to South Africa to purchase arms in the black market. I still have my guest with me here on the show, Balazaka, thank you for staying the course, and Razak Olokwoba. Let me start with you, Razak. What do you make of the position of the United States at this time?
Well, you cannot blame a particular government if it says it does not want to do business again with another country, with a particular country. That's for the US. I can't say more than that. But for Nigerians, it's high time we start looking inward. People will insult Nigeria because they don't want to sell toothpick to us. They will insult us because they don't want to sell shoe to us. They don't want to sell tie to us. They don't want to sell virtually anything to us. And that is the kind of economy we run in Nigeria. We are not producers, we just consume. It is by the grace of money from oil that Nigeria still rates as a country that looks well fed. If oil gets right today, we're in a big mess. And the mess is beginning to manifest in incipient because the way oil market is dwindling, the prices from it is dwindling, is really affecting our economy. And that is the direction I said the government is not looking at. If a country is not properly structured, you won't get it right economically. You won't get it right industrially. Scientifically, you won't get it right. So all sectors will not be working fine for you if the structures are not fine. It is an umbilical cord. It links from one point to the other. When we are not producing our guns, we are at the receiving end of the countries that are strong enough to produce their own guns and bullets. So, of course, there can be unconventional means to buy equipment, particularly when it comes to issue of terrorism. When it comes to issue of terrorism, human rights are deficient. That's why you see roadblocks everywhere. You see people declining coffee. You see people searching, stop and search. That is an unconventional means for special occasions. So, if you want to buy arms too, the rate at which our soldiers are combating the Boko Haram is a low-scale war. So, and if you are engaging a low-scale war, the numbers of bullets you will need and guns you will need also almost be equal to what you are going to need at war time. And look at the GOC might not be wrong, might not have bad intention for sending those boys out. Military will continue to be military. Either you have an ordinary paper in your hand. A military guy must not be seen scaling fence. So if you say thief, thief, thief here, the sensitive thing for you and me to do is for us to scale fence. But if you get a clip of a soldier or a policeman scaling fence because of armed robber, it looks somehow to you. So that is what the GOC might have in mind. Why I say soldier will be soldier. Even with the last blood in your vein, you must move. That was what you might have in mind. But militaries are not run like that all over the world again. It's American soldiers beat retreat over and over and over and over and over again. So it is not a thing of disgrace if the GOC add 2 plus 2 together by not sending those boys out. I'm not speaking for the GOC now. But if you look at the kind of policy that is up there, I don't also want to say 100% the GOC might be out of bullets. That was why I sent those boys out. Gone are the days when you say military is stereotyped. When all things are being equal, if a soldier refuses instruction, it's meant to be shot. All things being equal, when a superior officer aims a gun at a GOC for that matter, is meant for Gugalutin to be hanged. So all these factors, but when all things are not being equal, and in the case of these soldiers, I want to say that all these are not being equal. There are evidence to show over and over again, newspaper analysis, conversion of soldiers, conversion from military authorities, that our military have a very low morale at the moment. One and two is that we have insufficient, which has been attested to or buttressed by our own governments, that we are short of arms and ammunition. So if the soldiers are saying that the sensitivity for them is to wait to equip themselves more before these boys gets out of to engage in Boko Haram, I don't think they are wrong. I don't think they are wrong. So the way the judgment was passed, as far as I am concerned, many people have spoken against this, that it's a compromise. It is a compromise because what is involved there is our life of human being. If you look at military trials all over the world, that was not how our own military tried our boys. There was no excuse because the military has been compromised. So if you are compromised in a situation, you can't sit on that kind of matter. Military conspired, the military leadership conspired together to just sentence those boys. And it is not fair. That's why the federal government must come to it. It might have a fair. And if you look at all the people who have military background, security background in the world, that get snapped. What I mean snapped is that when you are thinking like a normal human being, a particular incident that happened to a particular security guy in the past might get him snapped and might turn negative. You have watched the video clip of a police officer that killed about 11 people before he was got shot. He referred to what made him do that in the past. He said, these are the sins of the American police against him. So time, they killed my colleague, you did nothing to him. So time. So that is the danger in what this sentence meant. And that's why the Nigerian government must look critically into it before that judgment is sustained.
It's all right. The reason why the U.S. is not selling arms and ammunition to Nigeria is clear violation of human rights. You know, the Amnesty International has been on this country since 2009 for killing, maiming, harassing of, you know, civilians in northeastern part. How do we bridge the gap between the inhuman manners with which Shekau and his boys fight this war and protecting human rights at the same time?
Well, it's very clear that, I mean, Shekau or Boko Haram has been brutal.
Very brutal.
Right? Very, very brutal. And we said they were guerrilla in their approach. They were never conventional. It was the duty of our own military to make sure they minimize what I can best describe as collateral damage. But even when you call it minimizing collateral damage, at the end of the day, there will be a quantum of what? Damage. Because it's not conventional. It's something that is guerrilla, something that is chameleonic and amoebic in nature. So you must, one way or the other, end up having that damage. The only thing is you can best minimize it. On the side of the US not giving arms and ammunition because of human rights violation, I can tell you, just like democracy, democracy has a universal definition, but it does not have a universal application. The application will be based on the peculiarities of your nation or your constituency or your domain. And that's how I see human rights violation. Because you go to some places, commonly pulling a girl by the hand, it is a violation of her fundamental human right. In the case of Boko Haram and the brutish nature they adopted, one way or the other, there was a need to put a wedge to their satanic advancement. And if possible, push them back. In the process of pushing them back, you carry out all sorts of acts, right? And which will lead to what we said, the collateral damage. But I think it is, the onus also lie on the Nigerian military or the Nigerian government to also present evidences and clips of the brutality of Boko Haram. If you do that, I think what now needs to...
The question is, does the brutality of Boko Haram justify the...
No, it doesn't. What we are saying is, when Boko Haram comes with that level of brutality and vengeance to destroy everything about your human and material assets or capital as a country, you must put a wage to it, right? And remember, they are using unconventional approach on you. In the process of trying to put a wage, if possible, you will want to dislodge them. When you are on the track dislodging them, of course, the concept of impacting on your own comes in. But it is your duty to also show the proof. Boko Haram went to Ngomboru Ngala and killed this number of people. The pictures are there, the clips are there. If you can't have the moving pictures, we have the corpses. We have this. In our own case, in the process of trying to dislodge Boko Haram, maybe 1 or 2 Nigerian citizens became unfortunate and regrettable casualties. We will regret it. But one way or the other, we have to dislodge them. One thing about terrorism we need to understand, every country does everything humanly possible to dislodge terrorism. But let's now come back and ask ourselves as also a country. To be honest, a good and a focused leader who has the firepower to lead, once you are given the mandate, apart from trying to give or usher the dividends of democracy, the next thing you need to do is to think or plan on how to use your human and material assets. At this level, we are supposed to have been able to produce some of our arms, just like what Uncle Razak was saying. Every day we are being jeered at, just like he said, for toothpick, for this and that, but specifically on the US. It's a shame that we are still a monoproduct economy as Nigeria. There was a time the US said we were not going to need our crude oil again. Why? Because they took years to carry out research and development in the Green River Formation, and they developed what we call the shale oil, which all they need to do is to adopt a system we call thermal dissolution, pyrolysis, and hydrogenation. And they will convert that oil into what is now suitable as a refinery feed. And immediately they did that, they discovered they have proved reserve that is in excess of 800 billion barrels, which is even 3 times the reserve of what? Saudi Arabia. At that point, they said, hey, Nigeria, we don't need your oil, right? Every country has to think and plan generationally, right? When they did that, all of a sudden, we started experiencing depletion in our revenue income. We turned to Asia. Asia said, hey, Nigeria, the distance between you and the US refinery is just 5,000 kilometers. 5,000 miles. On our own case as Asia, we are like 10,000 miles, 12,000 miles away from you. If we have to buy your oil, Nigeria, you will need to give us discount. So just to concur with what you were saying, people started laughing at us. We have reached a stage where there are certain things we should basically develop. If we develop some of these things, people will not jeer at us. I don't think South Africa will just go up and down, or some countries of the nation will go up and down looking for arms. Okay, you've been blocked from getting these things, these arms, because of human rights violation. That does not justify why you are going to carry liquid cash. Let's be very honest with ourselves. Right. Liquid cash, even if you don't want people to know for security reasons, there are decent ways of buying, securing this thing. A simple question somebody will have asked is this: what if that plane has crashed? The plane that was carrying that money, what if it has crashed? Is that how Nigeria will have just lost that quantity of money? Then another thing again is, everywhere you go, as far as I'm concerned, you may have different religions, but the world is being led by laws, principles, and ideologies. What is the definition of money laundering? As a country, maybe somebody needs to educate some of us. So what some of us are saying is, it's actually a you don't really know who to blame in difficult moments like this. Like Uncle Razak said, you have processes where it's almost like a Cold War, but you need to deploy and get all the ammunitions of a total war.
It's all right. We have to round up there. Even indeed, Shekau is dead. And let's hope that he doesn't resurrect again. And then the victory that we've experienced in the past 2 weeks. So what should be the next step now for Nigeria to take in this ongoing fight?
Well, with the death of Shekau,
The alleged death.
The alleged death of Shekau, the light some people might be thinking they are seeing at the end of the tunnel might be an optical illusion. Because Shekau promised that somebody else is going to ascend the throne and is going to be more brutal and more tougher than him. So instead of celebrating the death of Shekau, if he has actually died, what we should be looking at is how we are actually going to end insurgency, what led to it in the first instance, and for us to have that what is called eternal vigilance. And the government should be vigilant. The people in that region should also be vigilant, and the military should also be very, very vigilant.
Razak Olukwaba, thank you very much for joining us today on Cold Digest. Balazaka, it's good to have you also
Thank you.
on the show. Well, it's a wrap on Cold Digest today. Thank you for watching. It continues tomorrow, and it kicks out at 9:30 all the way to about 10:30 thereabout. I'm Nifemi Oguntoye. Thank you for watching.